Hey, hey, now everybody, what's going on out there in Radio Land? Thanks for joining the One Star channel. I'm your host, One Star Will. How's everybody doing today? We're gonna get right into it. There has been a lot of blame gaming going on within the Democratic media, the mainstream media, YouTube media, about what precisely went wrong to where it ended up that Republicans have control of the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the Supreme Court. And yesterday I was interrupted in the middle of a beautiful rant about how insulting it was to me personally and to so many people across the nation to see DNC Democrats and presidential candidates and people who essentially ran the losing campaign this year come out and blame people in the Bernie camp for the issues. And I went on to explain how it is that Democrats like to portray themselves as, the greener of the two parties. And they came out loudly in support of plastic and polluting industry and fracking as one of their main things, clearly kowtowing to Republicans who might be on the fence about Trump, completely ignoring the cult-like status and following of the guy. And so, I came here to weigh in a little bit today, talk realistically about what's going on, because I think a little honesty is really valuable in a time like now where so many people just lie and distort and come out with just, not centrist, more extreme type of statements. I think it's safe to say that there is definitely a moment that's being had within the Democratic Party at this time in history. And so we're going to talk about that. If you missed the show yesterday, we talked about your dollar buys 25% less than it did 10 years ago, and I was basically saying, I don't think that's true. It's probably 100%. It's about worth half of what it used to be. OnlyFans model Sophie Rain made $43 million last year on OnlyFans. So we were just giving her a big shout out. Congratulations. The American Genius channel is about reading the news every day. My personal commentary on it. We were talking about, let's see here. Oh yeah, plastic. We need to talk about plastic. 5 everyday items choking the planet. So we discussed all this in fine detail. Millions of tons of plastic foul the world around us. It's true, 44 million tons a day out of New York City. It's impressive, New York. We were talking about Republican sanity, Bitcoin, man beaten to death with his own golf clubs in apparent random attack on Florida golf course. Tragically, this guy was a organic health food guy. This dude that killed him was not. He was a clearly insane gentleman. The genius of the day, I'm afraid. Which brings us to today. And if you saw the live stream yesterday, you will know that we had some audio issues in important moments, Murphy's Law, and unfortunately those audio issues were also replicated on the backup recording. So now today we have a backup for the backup recording. Yes, you heard that correctly. We were recording in triplicate today to make sure that it would be easy to edit back in any weird voice parts. But we're going to find a more creative solution to that issue and go ahead and figure out a way, even if it has to be an AI or something, an AI voice, to restore the lovely rant that I went on yesterday. I thought it was one of the most important parts of the segment, and it clearly got fuzzed out by bad microphone distortion. So please, if you're listening today, get in the comments section, in the chat, get in the chat, and let me know if we're having any kind of issues pertaining to audio. I've changed the settings. Hopefully everything will be working smoothly today. We're going to find out. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're listening to American Genius live stream with One Star Will. We can't say how much we appreciate you. And I'm about to go in on some Democrats right now. And I'm going to speak in an honest way about what I see happening as someone who was a state delegate in 2016. Somebody who's spent a lifetime listening to politics and watching it all go down, like many of you out there have. Seen the cycles and the things that politicians do and say, the lies, the actual reality of America. There's a lot of people who have a lot to say about it. I'm going to navigate through here and get to these articles, and we're going to start talking about this. Thank you for tuning in. So, what we're noticing here is that Kamala Harris is continuing to fundraise. Democrats criticize Harris for self-congratulatory review of election loss. Now, this touches on the subject without going all the way into the fact that it's swirling through mainstream and YouTube media that Bernie Harris has come out and basically hinted at the idea of starting a third party. Having given up on the Democrats are running Rahm Emanuel now. These sort of Obama-era, Clinton-era connections coming in to continue to have the party stay on track with this corporate polluting industry kowtowing that we're seeing to the tune of billions of dollars. And it's just really heartbreaking to watch, because the truth is that people within the camp and within the media themselves are trying to blame the loss on left-wing people. And they're pretty much lumping in Bernie-crats in that comment, for lack of a better way of describing it. And the tangent I was going on yesterday that didn't quite get recorded cleanly, that I would like to pick up on there today. Essentially what I was saying is that the Democratic Party has gone so far right-wing with their corporate polluting industry coziness that they are actually right-of-center politic in America. They are actually right-wing when it comes to their business and energy agenda. So what they essentially are doing is kowtowing to both the social feelings of people who are on the left, which I find strange is technically called the left, because I don't see how, and this is what I was saying yesterday, I don't see how just being black or being a minority automatically makes you left. I think that those are social issues, and they're really what is humanity. Anything that has to do with basic humanity has just been basically thrown into the category of left-wing people. And I don't really see it that way. I think that people who are left-wing are left-wing. If you have a left-wing ideology of some sort, then maybe you're left-wing. And, Bernie Sanders comes from an old school time where he kind of announced himself as a democratic socialist. But the truth is that the Americans that are Democrats that follow him are much closer to centrist. People who are not down with polluting energy. People who are definitely not down with genocide. And does that make someone left wing? I mean, how does that precisely translate into a left-wing ideology when you don't think that genocide is a good idea or trashing the planet to death? So that's where the term trash and kill Dems comes from. Pure and simple. These are Democrats closely aligned with the DNC and the Obama-Clinton machine, and they are essentially running on a trash and kill platform, taking huge donations from polluting industry, publicly announcing their support for fracking. I mean, this is Kamala Harris talking, as she's running for president. Making it almost their flagship thing to come out and say loudly that we support fracking, that it's going to be a part of the energy mixture for the time to come, for the next 50 years, whatever. I mean, they're literally out here quoting what any fracking lobbyist would say in a Holiday Inn, meeting for fracking people. I really don't. I mean, what else can you say about it? And so, people who are not voting Republican are people who would like to be able to vote their conscience. Taking it and making federal politics a situation where you have one person running who is so extremely extreme on a platform that is so extremely far right that it's not even within the realm of normal right and left wing politics. In a perfect world, that wouldn't even exist. People being that extreme and just out of their mind when it comes to insane policy initiatives. We talked about Republican sanity yesterday, and I'll get the live stream back up and running, and I'll clean up the audio, and it'll come live eventually, one way or another. And the parts that are clean, I can put them live sooner than later, but the important context is lost without the other parts. Having said that, imagine a world, if you will, where there's not an extremely religious right wing who are basically just completely willing to kick the rails off of pollution in the world in a way that's basically like suicidal to the planet, and really don't understand enough about the world around them or have time to think about it beyond a level that's, to people who are intellectual, it's deeply oversimplified. I'll just put it that way. It's dumb reasons to do dumb things, a lot of it. And there's a lot of bad energy and a lot of toxic hatred for no reason but people's basic humanity. So, and the unwillingness to accept that people are humans the way that they are. And so, when you really take a look at it, it is just deeply insulting that Democrats would come out and try to blame any of this on Bernie. People who are not voting Republican would like to vote their conscience. And there's a significant amount of people, no matter how much they don't like the right-wing extremists, are not going to be willing to vote for a trash and kill federal policy, to support fracking and plastic loudly, to come in full-throated support of a genocidal situation going on in real time, is absolutely just unbelievable bad idea. It is a terrible, terrible disgrace. And people are really, really upset about it, or else nobody would be taking what Bernie Sanders is saying seriously right now. But the whole reason that we're in this situation in the first place is because Democrats didn't put Bernie up in the first place when they should have. And we're going to continue to have him as our lead guy because he is an honorable person, pure and simple. He's somebody we can vote our conscience behind. Democratic, socialist, whatever. I think in modern time, Bernie should just go ahead and call himself a centrist, because I'm not seeing anything about his policies or his willingness to go all in on renewable energy is anything but smart. It's just centrist at this point. It's mainstream. And that's the thing that Democrats really fail to see. You know, maybe they're happy to give it over to Republicans. They pretty much handed it to them. Now they get to kick back for 4 years or 8 years, or maybe more. But I think deep down inside, self-congratulatory Harris is probably not a good idea. This technically falls squarely on her shoulders for coming out and publicly saying all these things about fracking and full-throated support of this like genocide situation. Democrats did this to themselves. People who vote not Republican are 1,000,000% not down with this at all. So don't come knocking around, please kindly, don't come knocking around what you would like to refer to as left people or progressive people who are really just centrists, who are smarter than you and are better people with better policy initiatives, is exactly what I was saying yesterday. You know. So thank you for that. Trash and kill Dems. That's what we're dealing with over here. We're trying to run against Donald Trump and, MAGA. And we've got these trash and kill Dems running the show. And they lost. Again. They lost to him twice. So, they don't appear to be getting the picture either, is what I'm learning from the thing is that now they're going to, from the media, is now they're going to run. What I'm hearing is that Obama is running Rahm Emanuel for the DNC. And I'm sorry, but I just don't see anything good coming out of that. And, if people are looking for my hot take on what's going to happen with Bernie's new party, I think it should be a centrist party. I think I'm describing centrism pretty accurately as using smart tech and code and nerd stuff, similar to how Elon Musk does it, but without all the racism and hatred and bigotry and sexism. Just apply ourselves to modernize the world in a way that makes clean energy the norm. I don't see any reason to continue down this path of ecological destruction. And that's a centrist viewpoint. Don't get it twisted. This is not some left-wing situation. There is nothing at all that's not centrist about doing the smart thing and getting off fossil fuels as soon as humanly possible. I mean, just picture a beautiful planet like that. Nothing comes without some sort of... Energy doesn't seem to be able to come without some sort of pollution. But we're noticing that, nuclear fission companies are actually coming out with ways, and nuclear fusion companies... I'm trying to remember which one it was. I guess it was a nuclear fission company, right? They're figuring out ways to actually harness that and get it out to the grid. So those are, infinite forms of electricity, more or less. Or semi-permanent forms of electricity that can be created in the not-too-distant future. This reliance on fossil fuels is unacceptable. I mean, just look at the plastic. And that's the whole thing. I got to get that episode live for you. But for now, I want to leave you with my thoughts on that. Because trash and kill democracy is not a thing that people on the left or in the center are down with. So the DNC should literally, honestly, just hand over the keys to Bernie. The way that the Republicans did to Trump. If they ever want to be influential or smart or make a good decision again, that would be the thing to do. Sitting around and blaming progressive people for the fact that the world sucks now, when you ran on a platform like the one that Kamala Harris ran on, is absolutely disgusting, and really just is the cherry on top of the disgusting policy that we saw come out of the Harris administration and the Biden administration during the course of this last election cycle. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time today. I am your host, One Star Will. You are listening to the third episode of the American Genius live stream. We're going to be doing this quite a bit. I have one lovely subscriber now. I'm gonna keep going every day. Get this party started. We can't play copyrighted music, so here's a beautiful song by yours truly, One Star Will, and Bassy Greg. Y'all have a beautiful day. I might come back on here shortly. I'm gonna give this an audio check and make sure that my microphone isn't glitching. And if it is, I'm gonna go and overlay the backup of my backup. And yeah, I'll come back on live a little bit later. Thanks for tuning in. Come hang out with me every day. Get in chat and tell me what you think, and we can start discussing some things and having a good time. All right. One love.
Let the sunlight take me down. 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 It's happened to me now. My soul is finally free now. I'm just a leaf upon a tree now, wearing a cold and nice crown. In the frosty winter chill, waiting for spring to come around.
I missed it. How's that?
And let the sunlight take me down. Let the sunlight take me down.
I missed it again.
Well, the thing is, you can throw it in anywhere.
Yeah.
So if I throw it in and you don't happen to hit it, don't even worry about it, because it'll just be like a
It'll
passing
just
chord
be
for
like-
me.
Yeah.
And it won't make any difference to the audiences there, so you know what I'm saying? And I do change, I switch it up sometimes randomly, so don't feel like you miss it, like I have it planned. Like
Okay.
the fact that it is unplanned makes
Yeah,
it more
so
like
it-
emotional, because then
Right.
then
Okay, I
it
get you.
allows for some randomness.
So it just kind of breaks up my bass line a little bit too.
Yeah, and it'll allow for some randomness in the music that'll change from show to show, and from performance to performance of the song. And the more we play it, you know, the more we'll kind of
more.
Because you can be playing, you know, some musical runs too once you get into it, and it'll be a little bit more musical. But I love the whole notes and the bass. Even the song sounds beautiful, even with the basicest whole notes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
And I was doing that as part of the intro to kind of like
sometimes
not dominate the song. I didn't want to dominate.
No, you're
the
killing
vocals coming in.
And
So.
and sometimes even sometimes I'll mix it up to the point where I'll be like doing the chorus where it's like I'll do the G part right here. I'll go. You see what I'm saying? It'll change back and forth from the G to the D part. And so somewhere in there are chords that always work. There's a bass line that will never. Somewhere in there, it's like you can't really miss the notes. You think you're missing them, but you're not. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, all of those notes are in the G.
That's what I'm saying.
Key.
Maybe we formulate more as we go.
Then is that written in G major or what?
Yeah, that's a G major. Yep. The whole song has kind of a minor feel, but it's definitely got a G major in it.
Okay.
That's what it's an interesting song like that. Like G major always sounds happy, but in this song it sounds very like fucking deep. You know what I mean? It's like this enlightening, fucking weird, trippy shit. It's fucking crazy. Okay, so any way you play it is probably gonna be pretty close to right. As I go along in the song, I tend to mix it up a little bit more. As it gets later into the song, I'll mix up the D and the G parts or the chorus more, because then it becomes more of an interesting way to do it.
Right, and then if I don't mix up with you, that's just
It's still gonna
harmonics.
Sound, yeah, that's
It's
what I'm
just
saying. It's gonna
harmonics,
sound. It'll actually probably lend to the beauty of the song either
Yeah.
way, because there'll be harmonies, and what you're saying is like different passages going on
Yeah.
at the same time. And so
because you can play a harmony on your 5 or your 4 that sounds reasonable.
yeah, I think it's gonna sound cool. So it's pretty loose like that. I'll try to play it similarly as I go, but yeah, I guess we'll see.
Let the sunlight take me down. Let the sunlight take me down. Let the sunlight take me down.
That didn't work.
Let the sunlight take me down. It's happening to me now. My soul is finally free now.
Well, that was good.
I'm just a leaf upon a tree now. Wearing a cold and ice crown. In the frosty winter chill, waiting for spring to come around, and let the sunlight take me down. 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 It's happening to me now. My soul is finally free. I'm just a leaf upon a tree now, wearing a golden ice crown. In the frosty winter chill, waiting for spring to come around, and let the sunlight take me down. Let the sunlight take me down. Let the sunlight take me down.
Oh, that sounded good.
Let the sunlight take me down. Let the sunlight
Yeah, I do like dropping that E in there like that.
Dude, that sounds so emo.